this point, you guys are gonna think I only own yellow shirts. Hello, writing pals! I hope you are all doing well. My name is Xana Renee, and I am a dark fantasy writer here on YouTube. I make videos all about my journey with writing and authorship. I hope you all enjoy today's video. If you do, make sure you like and subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Now last week we talked about how we can trap our reader into a white room by forgetting to set our setting. Today we're going to finish off the list of senses and how to use them to create an immersive world for our reader. Now we've already talked about pre-establishing your story world and how it helps you by already knowing the setting as you're writing. It's not something you struggle to find out later. And then we dug into the senses of sight and sound, which you might experience in greater depth today because it's beautiful and I have my window open and the birds are chirping and there's nothing you can do about it. So next up we're going to talk about the sense of touch. Now just with all of our senses, the sense of touch supports the sense of sight. If something looks like a tree, smells like a tree, is written to be a tree, but doesn't feel like a tree and feels like nothingness when the POV character leans up against it, we've got a problem. Touch helps keep things consistent in your writing. Touch is also really personal. I may like how soft something is. I may describe it as plush and comforting, but someone else may feel the exact same object and describe it in a totally different way. They may find it scratchy, annoying, or perhaps instead of soft, they use the word velvety. Characters can argue about how something feels. Touch can shift the mood of a setting. The air can take on a sudden chill. The character felt as though they were touched by a ghost. Your character can be riding on the back of a horse and the wind is biting at their face, but once they slow or stop, the air suddenly feels warm and inviting. The touch of a loved one on your face is going to feel so different than the hands of a monster. Describing both as a hand on my face isn't clear on how the character feels. The monster's hand wrapped around his jaw, clenching it shut. Nothing like the warm embrace of his wife's small hand enveloping his cheek that morning. Both characters are performing the same action, yet they are drastically different when described. The sense of touch may also uncover that things aren't as they seem. Finding a hidden door and passageway in a wall or bookshelf because something didn't feel right. Describing the change in the floor as the reader walks what is a well-worn path in a hardwood floor, tripping on the divots when they first stepped upon them. Touch is the only physical description your reader gets about your world. It's the only way they can feel it. You've got to make it count. You can say what's going on around them, but unless they feel it, the reader isn't going to know. The difference between a flower touched his arm and the silky petals of a rose brushed against his arm is huge. Describe when something touches the character. If it was important enough to note that it happened, it's important enough to be described. Next up is the sense of smell. And like with last video, I will say it with every single sense. It is important for backing up your setting. If your character is walking through a sewer and can't smell anything, they are lying. It may not bother them, but they should be able to smell whatever crap is going on around them, pun intended. If they've been training outside by a barn in the sweltering sun, they gonna smell. Likewise, if they're walking through a forest thick with trees and plants, can they smell the soil? Do the leaves and trees give off a scent? I encourage you to really look into the scent of things beyond the forest smelled like trees. Go deeper. Immerse the reader. Second quote of the video, immerse your reader. The forest smelled sweet as they brushed past a birch tree, or the earthy scent hit their nose as they climbed through the underbrush. You don't have to be extravagant with these details all of the time, but they do need to be there. And like with touch, smell varies from person to person. I love the smell of a campfire. Wood smoke is a very calming scent to me, but someone else may find it annoying or repulsive. They're wrong, but that's okay. Sometimes a character can't smell something, and that's bad. Someone in the group says, "Can you smell that?" for 5 minutes, and your main character finally asks what it smells like 5 minutes later, to which they get, "I thought I smelled a broken gas line, but no one else could, so I figured I was going crazy." If a character can't smell the environment around them, there better be a good reason for it. And this is also a good time to go into what the world is like around them. My small Midwestern city isn't going to smell the same as Los Angeles. Not every city or village in your world is going to smell the same. One forest may vary from the next. People smell different day to day depending on what they've been up to. Your point of view character's sense of smell may break someone's lie. If someone asks their partner who they were out with and they say, "I was out with the guys, but they clearly smell like Chanel No. 5, they're most likely lying. Use your character's sense of smell to your advantage. Use all of these senses to your advantage when describing your world. It makes your world feel so real. Next up, we have taste. Even if there isn't something in their mouth, I bet your main character can taste something. The taste of the forest air was earthy, or maybe they could taste the dirt as they crawled through the underbrush. Give things aside from the air a taste too. Perhaps casting magic leaves a taste in one's mouth, or the aura it gives off leaves a salty taste in the air. Maybe different magic leaves a different taste. You don't always have to use tasting words either. The cookie tasted warm. It's an odd description, but it feels good to read. Perhaps someone is emoting strongly. She could taste his anger floating in the air. That would suggest that whoever that man is, he's quite angry. Include how a character interprets a taste. The taste of it left a bitter feeling in her stomach. We didn't describe what said object tastes like, but the after effects of it, which can be just as strong, if not stronger in some situations, than describing what it tasted like in the first place. It also does something really important, which is letting the reader fill things in for themselves. They are now imagining something that left a bitter feeling in their stomach. They feel it more intensely now. Remember, just because something isn't in their mouth doesn't mean they can't taste anything. Use all of your senses in a chapter. Find something to taste. Lick a flagpole if you have to. But I want to be able to taste at least one thing per 2 chapters. I don't know. Just a request. I wanna know what your world's like. But alright, we've got the main 5 senses now. Woohoo! But there are more senses that we have that are very important for reading. We've got the sense of space. How your brain sees the space around you. It's defined as perception or awareness of the position and movement of the body, the sense of your body in a space. It's how we can walk up a flight of stairs without looking at each and every one of them. Can you close your eyes and touch your finger to your nose? It's very hard. There we go. How aware is your character of the space around them? If your character's familiar with the space, they may not have to look where they're going as they walk through a room, like how you could most likely walk around your house with your eyes closed. It's a pattern your body has built. If they're in a new space, they may keep bumping into things, or have to look around a lot. Proprioception is how the brain understands your body in a space. Just like a cat looking at a box and thinking, "Can I fit into that?" Perhaps a character feels out of place, or the room just feels wrong. Different than before. Use this sense to get into the character's mind of what they see reality as. Their childhood room is going to feel different as an adult. They may remember it taking 7 steps between their bed and their closet, but now it's only 3 as they've grown. Their body has to relearn what it remembers because it's different now. If your character has gone through a physical transformation of some kind, they're going to have to relearn a lot of things, from losing a limb to gaining a set of wings. A lot of things change for them. Describe the change, and make the reader learn alongside with the character. And that's really all of the main feelings. There are more subtle senses that most people never really perceive. For example, there are neuron sensors that sense movement to control balance and the tilt of the head. Specific receptors exist for detecting stretching in muscles and tendons, helping people keep track of their limbs. Other receptors detect levels of oxygen in certain arteries of the bloodstream. Sometimes people don't even perceive senses the same way. People with, and I'm going to butcher this, synesthesia can see sounds as colors or associate certain sights with smells. And if you're writing sci-fi or fantasy, then the sky is your limit with what any race you create can do, just like with a range of animals we have here on Earth. Maybe you create a race of people who, like some fish and animals here, live in darkness for most of their lives. They don't have eyes, but their sense of taste, smell, and sound is amazing. They'd make a really good tracking or hunting species. A race that can't hear may have great spatial awareness, or that extra feeling of how things around them are moving, the subtle shift in the air when a body moves near them. The possibilities are endless with how you unlock the senses of your characters, and I hope you have fun doing it. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you're able to now go ham with describing the world you've written. A great tip I have from an author in my writing group is have the main 5 senses written at the top of your page, then erase them as you've included them in your scene. She described how something tasted. She doesn't really need to do it again for a while. She wrote how something felt. There's touch ticked off the list. Keep track of how you're doing with including your senses. It'll help you avoid trapping your reader into a white room. Alright, let me know what you think of today's video. You can let me know by leaving a comment down below, or you can shoot me a message on any of my social medias. I am on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'll see you there. Bye!